activity of
Sorry about that. I forgot about that. Some people had requested
basically.
recording.
Yes. Um, we this exercise involves mapping, which we did when we came, and the purpose was to establish whether the embassy has enough space where we can carry out the registration, what are the conditions required for us to fulfill to be allowed by the host government to carry out the registration of voters, and at the same time prepare for them to vote next year on August 9th, 2022, and all that. And we were happy that the embassy was very, very, very supportive for us to use their facility. And the embassy agreed that they are going to coordinate with the government of Germany to ensure that the exercise is carried out successfully. And when we do the mapping, identify the place, we are supposed to gazette that particular venue as a registration center, and that will be also the voting or polling station for the purpose of voting in 2022, August 9th. So that process that's where we are now. Where we are moving to is the logistics of doing the voter registration, which according to the regulations governing the elections in Kenya will be carried out as together with the voter education. So those two activities are the ones we are proposing to come and carry out. In next month. As of now, the dates are from 17th to 31st January 2022. However, the chairman of IEBC has to gazette those dates. The chairman of IEBC has to gazette the venue. The chairman of IEBC has also to gazette the people carrying out that activity. And this is going to be done immediately we come back next week from holiday. We are going to carry out, the chairman is going to carry out that after we hold a meeting which is scheduled for 15th. Now, one thing that I would like to clarify here is that we realize the logistical and the cost implications of people moving to Berlin to register. Our proposal, which is to be discussed next week, is to allow the kit that is going to register voters in Germany to move to some areas where we have many Kenyans, probably 3 or 4 areas where we have many Kenyans. And our thinking is that if there is a city in Germany, which is near one of the neighboring countries, and the people in the neighboring countries can be able to come and register there in Germany, the city where we are going to identify, it will be much more convenient so that we can capture the Kenyans living within the neighboring countries. We are looking at that as a possibility. We are also looking at whether the law allows that to be done. Our legal team is working on that to determine whether that can be done without breaking the law, because the law requires that you register at the embassy. But we want to see whether we can be able to carry that activity that way by reaching more people. But it must be understood, even if that can be done, next year during the polling day on August 9th, even if you are registered in another town, you must come to Berlin because Berlin will be the polling station. The other thing is, what are the activities? What activities are we going to involve the Kenyans in diaspora in terms of mobilizing Kenyans to come and register? Some of the things IEBC can do, but some of the things you are the people to do. And what we mean is that when you say we are the people to do, we mean that mobilizations of Kenyans who are living within Berlin, within Germany and the neighboring countries to come and vote and register as voters will be an activity that we expect you to carry out as the stakeholders for this particular exercise. Together with our embassy, we need to ensure that we follow the laws governing that particular state or city in terms of issues of COVID or any other requirement. We will be moving with the kids, and these kids, they must be allowed to move, and where there is any restrictions, and even where a venue has been identified where we shall be able to carry out the exercise of registration. That one we need to work out with the people within that city, our embassy, so that we can be given the required licenses and permits to hold the exercise in that particular place. So once we have identified that, we have to contact our embassy and tell them, please, we have identified this particular place. We shall carry out the registration in that particular place, in this particular building. Please apply for permit or regulations that require that be done on behalf of IEBC. So there are quite a number of activities to be done. However, our aim as IEBC is to mobilize as many Kenyans as possible to register as voters and also make sure that they vote. As for voting, in terms of requirement, documentation, and what have you, I will request Sunkuli to talk about that. But that is an overview of what we really are up to and what we need to do. Thank you. Sunkuli could add a few issues in terms of the requirement and the rest of the issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, the team that has planned for this meeting. Thank you, colleagues who are joining from different parts of Europe, joining in this very important conversation. It's important to us that we are meeting you. I think we had an opportunity to meet a few of you physically and virtually when we came to Berlin last time. And this is, I think, a continuation of that very good conversation that we started. Like the Commissioner has ably put it, this particular exercise is an exercise that has been born out of many years of agitation by Kenyans who are living outside the country. And the fact that they have realized that the Constitution of Kenya provides that they are given an opportunity to participate on this. The law is very clear in terms of the participation of Kenyans outside Kenya, living outside Kenya in the elections. And therefore, what the Commission is doing is basically to implement those sections of the Constitution and of the enabling laws that it requires to do that. So, and as the Commissioner said, we didn't start yesterday. We are progressively, like guided by law, tried to reach out to our Kenyans in diaspora. And indeed, in the past elections, we have, in 2013, for example, we carried out an exercise and managed to register Kenyans who are living in Tanzania, where in Tanzania we had 2 polling stations, registration centers, Dar es Salaam and Arusha. We also went out to Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Africa later. And so far, we have about 4,393 voters in diaspora who are registered to vote for a presidential election in Kenya, because again, the law is very clear that all Kenyans living outside the country who register to vote are only limited to the presidential vote. Now, there are quite a number of challenges, both legal, financial, and administrative, that face this process. Of course, the lack of reliable data, which is very important when it comes to budgeting. The numbers of Kenyans who are out there, the high cost of conducting external elections, which is said to be between 5 to 10 times the local vote, depending on where you are going to do it. The high cost of that high cost is therefore very prohibitive. The lack of space, again, we have gone to certain Kenyan consulates, embassies, and high commissions, like from the mapping report we just got recently. There are certain consulates, commissions, and embassies that are in upstairs, maybe up there, which are not conducive for voting and registration, and several other hurdles. However, as a commission, like the commissioner said, we have tried to go around some of these challenges and try to develop some strategies on how we can go about the voting process. The registration process. And he has put it very clearly that we have now moved to 7 new countries, and that is what we are working on, and that is how we have come to Germany. We are in the UK, we are in the US, we are in Canada, Qatar, and UAE and South Sudan. And like the commissioner said, so these countries now agreed that they are countries we are going to go to, and the chairman is going to gazette them. He's going to gazette the date which we have proposed to you, that we have actually mentioned to you that it's going to begin on the 17th and will run concurrent with the second phase of our enhanced local voter registration. In terms of their issues, of course, for example, issues of time when registration will take place, and even in issues of time when voting eventually happens. The law, again, is very prohibitive because all these things are happening guided by the current law that we have. And certain issues are going to be a little challenge to implement, particularly issues of time. Like Joy will tell you, we have had a conversation around that, and I think it will still come up here today. And it is for us now to see how, like the commissioner said, how do we do this activity, follow it without breaking our law, but again making sure that you are facilitated out there to participate in the elections. So therefore, eligibility is as provided for again by law. You must be 18 years and must be holding a valid Kenyan passport, and you must present yourself in person at the registration desk to be registered. And like the commissioner said again, once you register, even if we pass our own administrative arrangement to visit you, maybe closer to the cities that you live in, at the end of the day, you must vote at one designated place in Germany, which will be in Berlin, the Kenyan embassy, which will be again gazetted for that purpose. So that should be made very clear. It is a valid passport, must be 18 and above, because children who have passports, they are not eligible. So, and you must present yourself in person. And in fact, we are also saying we are developing a way in which we are going to have, you can do booking we are developing a schedule for booking where you can book so that you don't again waste the time. We don't want you people to come and waste time. You want to book, and when you appear on your date that you've been provided for, you get attended to, and then you go back without without wasting a lot of time. So I think in brief, therefore, ours is to welcome this conversation. We welcome any ideas that will come out of this. If they will enrich the report again that we'll be presenting to plenary, like the commissioner said, the final organ that makes decisions in the commission, which will be happening next week. And that will inform how we are going to move forward from here. So this is coming at a very opportune time when we and a time that we require that kind of information from you, and any issues that will come from you that will then be presented and make this activity a success. So for me, I think I end there, and of course wish to hear from you as we progress in this meeting. Thank you very much, and back to you, Josh.
Thank you.
Can I just
Yes,
can I add something?
Yes.
We have taken a bit of time to discuss this because we wanted to get reports from all the people who visited the various countries. And I would like to mention that, like, the people who came from who went to Canada and the US, actually the last group got back to Kenya in on 23rd evening. And that information has to be put together so that you can develop a strategic arrangement that will be able to cover the needs of each particular region. Yeah. So that is why we are planning to have a meeting next week. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that extensive explanation. There is even more and more to come in the elaboration. As you can hear, we're here for you to answer your questions as well. And I have to say, Commissioner Madenga, you have a big network here of so many people from different countries in Europe. And what I will advise as we go on to the question and answer session, because I think that's the main part about this meeting, is to make sure when you want to ask the question, raise your hands up so that we can see it on the chat. And if you cannot raise up the hand up, put it on the chat and we'll be able to answer it in parallel. So we'll take one on the chat and one on the hands that have been raised up. And then we are going to ask you, when you answer, you kindly be very precise. Tell us who you are, which country you are, and then which organization you are from, so that we can also identify you with the organization if you have one. That would be great. And but most we'll need to know which country or which city you are in. So I'll wait to see the hands being raised up so that we can start. Meantime, I want to...
Before you start,
yes,
could you kindly know who are here, which countries are represented, or cities that are represented in this meeting?
So we do have, when they filled in the form, we have a report on that one. We can do that because we have like 31 people. But what I can do, I can ask you, everybody who is in here, kindly write on the chat where you are in the country so that we don't miss out apart from the people asking questions. Please write to us on the chat which country you are in. And what else did you want to know? The country, right? Okay, the country,
yeah,
right? The chat, country and city on the chat. Commissioner Madenga would want to know that, although I'm sure you feel that when you joined in this meeting, but it's good to know currently right now, but it's the same people. So go ahead. So please raise your hands up so I can see one hand is raised. And before the hand is raised up, there was a question which was put before. That was, maybe let me see the countries. Let me give you the countries report before we go to the question, as you said. So we do have people here from Italy, Milano. Thank you so much, Kevin. And we have Simon from Germany, Heidelberg. We also have John Limo from Copenhagen, that is Denmark. We also have Priscilla Mukira from Hamburg, Germany, Dorothy Karimi from Paris, France, Sylvia from Hamburg, Germany. Hamburg is well represented here. Bernard from England, that is Petersburg. And then we have Rachel Mwakazi from Norway and Cologne, Germany. We have Coril, of course, from Paris. We have Judith from Hague. Welcome, welcome all of you. Sweden is also well represented here by Leonard. And we do have Marcos here from Norway, from the chairman of Association of Kenyans in Norway. Welcome, welcome. We did have a very good discussion last time with a big team. Germany from Heidelberg, represented by Dorcas. We have Pamela from Switzerland. So we also have from Hungary. So we also had 2 people from Hungary last time. So welcome. We have England, Monica Karaoke, welcome. We also have Kenya, Diaspora, Netherlands from, also Netherlands is well represented. So we also have very interesting people from England to here, from Ireland, which I think they are part of EU, but and that's a very good question we'll be discussing later on about that. So I don't see any other one coming. That's all we have until now. We have Lucas from UK, the person working, supporting the UK mobilization is also here. We were also in one of his meetings in UK, which was one of the last meetings that happened probably with the chairman. Welcome so much as well. It's good when we are all collaborating together. So is that, should I go now ahead with the questions?
Yeah, please.
Okay, great. So Rachel Mwakazi from Norway and Cologne, go ahead and mute yourself, and kindly, if you cannot put up your hand, feel free to put it in the chat, but we would like you to raise your hand. Tell us your name, the country you are from, and the organization you're representing. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. Hi. I said my name is Rachel Mwakazi Shape, and I've written representing Cologne and Stavanger. Currently, I'm in Kenya because I've come back here, but I know I've been a diaspora leader. And what I wanted to ask is concerning the areas you've said you're going to choose in Germany where people can vote. Are you going to decide, or are we going to suggest? Because there are places which are quite convenient for people to come, and at the same time where there's a huge concentration of Kenyans, because realistically speaking, definitely people might come to register, might have challenges, and maybe some of them not come on the voters' day, but there are towns which are bordering others which would be crucial. So do we suggest the towns, or are you the ones who are going to suggest the towns, for at least for the registration? Thank you.
We have 2 or 3 questions, then we can answer them together.
Okay. And there's another question here on the chat. When is the registration date? Kindly raise up your hands up because I don't see any. I will just go with, and I know you have a lot of questions. So we do have also, when is the registration date? I think it was mentioned, but it's part of that. I can see one hand up raised. Marcosia, go ahead and mute and ask your question. Are you able to unmute? Yeah, there you go.
Yes, should I also unmute my video?
Is it on my side?
You said I should have my video on, maybe. Okay. Here I am. Frederick Makosiri is my name. Asante sana, commissioners, for sparing your time for us. I will try to be very fast, very short, and to the point.
A little more quick to the questions, yeah? And
yes, that's what I'm going to do. You say?
Yeah, because you're compiling, keep it to the question, otherwise we'll forget the others that were asked.
Yeah, I'm getting to my question.
Okay.
First, a correction. We are not talking about the European Union, we're talking about Europe. We are over 40 countries. But I'm going to focus my questions on the legality of what we are going for. The Commissioner Madengi has said that we might, what my hope was to have a mobile clinic where you are going around to register voters in the European region. That's a welcome point, and I hope it will be extended beyond the borders of Germany. And by that, I mean that you can visit all our embassies, because I represent a group which is way north in the northern region. We have 5 countries represented by 1 embassy. Question number 2, or suggestion number 2 about polling station. If you can have a mobile clinic when registering, what would stop the IEBC from gazetting several polling stations, since the law says that, I think it's called 38A says that you can only have 700 voters at a polling station.
Okay.
And if allowed, can you extend it to other embassies and countries?
Let me answer the first question that was by the lady who is in Kenya. What's her name is?
Rachel Mwakazi.
Rachel, yes, Rachel. I think, okay, let me combine the two. The issue of us registering people at various places. As of now, we are restricting ourselves to do this in Germany. And that's within Germany. And the places that you are likely to visit and register voters are guided by the number of the Kenyans living within those states. When you were in Germany, we were giving the list of people, of Kenyans living in Germany and where they live in which states. And we have a number of, I think about 4 or 5 states where over 1,500 Kenyans are registered living there. However, we would like also to get your input in terms of those states, and I'm sure Mr.
You are muted. You're muted. I don't know.
We get to compare that with your statistics, so that you can decide where we can be able to visit for registration. So I can say is we can use both cases. We can use the statistics we have from the embassy and also your input, so that you can decide which areas. As of now, our priority would be where we have more Kenyans living in. I know there is one state that has over 2,000 Kenyans living in that state, but this is where you come in terms of Kenyans who are living there, to advise us. This is where we think we can be able to get so many Kenyans, those where we can get so many Kenyans. I would wish to request Unkuli to deal with the second question.
I hear he's connected. I'm connected. I don't know. Are you here now? Because he was on the phone. Are you here, Moses? Are you ready in the meeting? I can't see you. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, but very far away.
And now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I'm now on. I'm okay. I'm connected. I just wanted to again join the commissioner by saying that in terms of the date, I think there was a question on the date. We're more or less, the commission is more or less decided on the date of 20.
I don't think we can understand. Sorry, Mr. Sanku, we can't understand you well, or it's just me. Commissioner Madenga, can you hear me? You're muted. Commissioner Madenga, you're muted.
Am I muted?
Okay. Bwana Sinkuli. Bwana Sinkuli. We can't hear you.
Yes, you're very far away, and
we can't hear you.
hear me now? Hear me now?
You are better. You are better.
Okay, let's go back to our phone.
Hello? Hello?
Let me go back to the phone.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Continue.
we're having issues. I'm going.
Now you can talk. You can talk now, Sunkuli.
Okay, can you hear me now?
You are better.
Joey, are you okay with me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I was just saying that in terms of the date, we have more or less agreed, the commission has agreed that we are beginning on the 17th, Monday, 17th of January 2022, and ending the registration on like I said earlier, ending the registration at the end of the month, that is the month of January, for purposes of registering Kenyans outside, living outside Kenya. So we are actually specific. We are starting on the 17th of January and ending on the 31st of January 2022. That is the date of registration. In terms of time, again, we are presenting this and it will be agreed upon. We are saying registration starts from 9 a.m. and ends at 6 p.m. Kenyan time. Again, we are bound by the law of the country that any registration that occurs probably outside this time will be deemed as irregular. So we are working around that. It's something that is yet subject to commission approval, so that again we have time that is in agreement with the law. Now, there was a question on mobile. On gazettement of several polling stations. It is yes possible to do that, but it comes with a cost implication. Remember, a polling station is an independent. It is an independent entity. I hope I'm still on.
Yes,
Yes,
go ahead.
Yes, so a polling station is an independent entity that comes with its own cost, and by the way, it is the cost driver in any election. So therefore, the many they are, the higher the cost of doing that. And as I said earlier, the kind of budget allocation that we have been given for this particular exercise again prohibits the growth that we had wanted. We had wanted in every country, every registration. The commission wants to be in every embassy, every high commission and consulate. However, depending on the cost and depending on the budget allocation for financial year in question, again, it prohibits that kind of growth. So therefore, and like the commissioner said earlier, again, registration and polling at the end of the day takes place on specifically designated areas that have been gazetted. So you cannot have polling taking place from any other place that is not gazetted by the commission. And these areas that are gazetted will be the ones that will be transmitting the election results specific to those areas. They can be audited and be followed a specific area of polling. So therefore, because of the cost, because of the legal requirement, we are not able to sometimes have people vote from wherever. That is why the question of from where they are. That is why the question of even voting from home or voting from away from the polling station, those questions have arisen. But according to our law, you must physically appear in person and
I think we're losing you.
Yeah, I think there's a network problem.
Yeah.
But I'd like to chip in.
Yeah, okay.
Basically manual, you fill a form, you market yourself and place where it is transmitted. It is just a system in transmitting the results. So therefore, specific areas that the commission would have chosen.
Back to you, Commissioner.
So, okay, Sunkuli.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, I think you got lost at some point, but I was just trying to explain to answer the question and say that the law, as of now, we have only Germany, and even those people who may register in any other, who may register in Germany will have to move to Berlin to vote, because the law requires that the Kenyan embassy or Kenyan consulate be the polling station and the registration center. However, as Mr. Sunkuli has explained, because of the cost of this particular exercise, it is not possible to take in many countries at the same time. So what the commission has done, out of the East African countries and South Africa that are so far covered as the diaspora voters, the commission made the decision to increase another, I think 7 countries, that is Canada, US, Britain, Germany, Qatar, and the UAE and Southern Sudan for this particular coming election. We will probably be able to include other countries as we move forward because of the cost. Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. Very well explained there. And also, I just want to also just add a little bit on that one. We had already put proposals of the cities we think in Germany, as Rachel was asking, and we have proposed, like when we send it to you guys, in terms of adding, apart from Berlin, to have Frankfurt, Cologne, Stuttgart, Munich, and Hamburg as additional countries, but definitely it's under consideration on your side. We will get back to that as well. So I'm going to go to the questions that are here on the list that I'm seeing here. I hope we've answered the other questions. So before I go for the hands up, I've seen one, but I have some questions here which were put. Is the election date fixed on 9th August?
Yes.
Yes.
It's cast on stone.
Okay, so that was done several years ago. I mean, not several, I don't know how long ago, but it's set very early. So there's another question here from John Limo. Will all diaspora votes, Europe, Canada, US, etc., be delivered as one polling station, or will we know the votes and polling station? I think you must have joined a little bit late, but I'll let you answer that.
Every country will be a polling station, but if in a country we have more than 700 voters, in the same embassy, they will be split into 2 polling stations. In other words, for example, in Berlin, if we register, let's say like 2,000 people, we shall have 3 polling stations, and all of them will be within our embassy, so that we can abide by the law that requires that every polling station should not have more than 700 people.
Okay. Then there's another question. I'll still come for the hands up. Just keep raising the hands. We'll go for those people who have not answered. Is it possible to gazette all our embassies as polling station to cut down costs since you will only need IEBC kits? That comes from Makosea.
We are going to gazette all the 7 countries that we have identified or we have done the mapping, those embassies or consulates will be gazetted as polling stations. Let me give you an example. In the US, we have Washington, we have New York, and we have Los Angeles. That means that anybody who is in the USA can register to vote in any of those 3 places. Because we have a consulate in New York and another one in Los Angeles, and the embassy is in Washington. So anybody who is in America can only register and vote in those places. And let me put it this way. If you are registered in Berlin, because the kit that is going to come to Germany will register people in Germany, and probably those people who are in the neighboring countries who wish to vote, the only place they will vote is in Berlin.
Okay, that's very clear. So where the registration is done, that's where you vote. So thank you for that. There's a very long question. Many I think these are also from the same person. We'll also have to go, after that we'll go to the answer. Many of our members live far away from Germany, and both registration day and voting day will mean a minimum 2 journey with expenses and time. Is there for within the budget based on Article 104 to facilitate those who are willing but may not may not be able to do in January and August? I think that was the question.
What we are trying to do is, I hope the person is listening. What we are trying to do is to facilitate the registration by probably moving the kit nearer to the people. We may not be able to reach to where everybody is, but nearer to the people. That is the facilitation we can do for now. But for purposes of voting, one would have to present himself or herself at the embassy in Berlin. There is no option.
Okay, that's quite clear. And then I go to Monica Karaoke. Did you say the voting will work with Kenyan time, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Kenyan time?
No, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Kenyan time.
Okay.
However, the law allows that if we are late at opening the polling station by maybe an hour or 2 hours for logistical reasons, we will extend the polling time by the same amount of time that is lost at the beginning.
Okay, now we'll go to the hand.
Joy.
Go ahead.
Joy.
Yes.
I just wanted to to support the commissioner by saying, in terms of time of voting, the time for voting is very clear in law. What time Kenyans are needed at the voting place, and therefore it is very clear. It is between 6. The polling stations open at 6 and close at 5. So that is very clear, and I think that's clear, Commissioner, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes, and then what I alluded to earlier was the registration. We are making a proposal for registration purposes only. This is different from voting. We are making a proposal for 9 to 6. It is not yet confirmed, and it is based on a discussion that will come. That is for registration only, for voter registration only. Yes, so that is something that we can present to the commissioners through this conversation. We can present to the commissioners, and it can be it's something that is within their purview. However, I also want to find out from the caller, somebody who asked about Article 104. I think Article 104 is about right of recall, the right to recall, and I think we are not discussing the issue of recall here. So that is what I wanted to weigh on. So basically, that yes, Commissioner.
No, thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you.
Yes, let's use the facts. The law have very clear laws, and let's make sure we use facts here. And about the timing, just to keep you aware, even if it's 6 p.m. Kenyan to 5 p.m. So it's summertime, guys. So we have German time will be 5 p.m. to 4 p.m. if I'm correct. Yeah. I'm open to correction, but I have issue with this minus and plus hours in Europe. It's crazy. So if you're in the Europe region and UK, they have their own, they'll calculate that. So the US have issues, we'll figure it out. So that is the voting. So the registration, you said, is 9 p.m. Kenya time to 6 p.m. Kenyan time, right? So we have to change that to also Europe time, right? Around winter time, which is now 2 hours. So that will be 7 p.m. to 4 p.m.
That's correct. That's correct.
Europe time.
Yes.
So let's, guys, anyway, most of us know how to change that. So, but for the IEBC, maybe to have when you are here, not to mix it up. So it will be very important.
I think, Joy, one of the greatest challenge that we are having in the diaspora, registration and voting, as a commission, and the commissioner will also weigh in on this, is one of the greatest challenge we have had. Is first, we have the legal hurdles. We are subjecting ourselves matters elections and matters registration in Kenya. So they're so litigious, and they have been legislated so heavily, and they've been ring fenced. Yet again, we want to open it up for our Kenyans out there, and without necessarily working on the legal framework. And I think Commissioner will later talk about their engagement as commissioners with Parliament to try and free ourselves and give ourselves room so that we can accommodate some of these issues that are coming up right now. Because while we want to give Kenyans outside Kenya a chance to vote, the legal regime that we have is so strict. For example, in terms of the time, we know that the world is not Kenya. I mean, we live in a big world, but we have legislated elections to Kenyan time, and we have those time differences. So it's something that Commissioner will have to talk about it, and will have to tell you that they are fighting to see how then are we going to carry these elections? How are we going to carry out these activities? Yet the law tells us it must happen. It must be guided by Kenyan law. And yet, you're better off in Europe. US, it will be 8 hours probably, 8 hours behind. So that means while we are talking about opening the polling station at 6 a.m., these guys will be fast asleep. They will be somewhere maybe 10 o'clock or something like that in the night. So those are the challenges that as a commission we go through as we try to accommodate Kenyans who are out there to participate in the elections. So thank you very much.
And we appreciate that you're pushing all those agendas forward for us. So we appreciate. So we go straight to the hands up. Simon, you can go ahead and mute yourself. If you want to put the camera on, you can. So you can ask your question, Simon. Go ahead. Or did he? He's gone. Okay, we lost him. So we go to Coril. Rachel, did you put up your hand again? We'll go to Coril.
I did, yes, but we can go to Coril first. But I put up my hand.
Okay.
I have a question. Yeah.
Coril, go ahead and kindly, go ahead and ask your question.
Just a quick question. Not necessarily a question, but just to add, because at the moment I understand now that the issues of logistics and everything that the commissioners are going through, and I know it's like, for them, it's like clearing the jungle because it's the first time. And I know every step they make, someone somewhere is waiting for them to see if they are making a mess, and they will held them, they will be held accountable.
Thank you.
Yes.
you.
So I was just requesting, because now we understand, I understand now that you cannot go outside Germany because of, you have to be under the jurisdictions of the embassy in Berlin, because they are the one hosting you. Is it possible for, as you say, that you can have to move mobile stations? Is it possible to have, if we could propose, maybe for us in France, we are close to Frankfurt or Cologne, and for those people in Austria, Vienna, Italy down there, they are more down, they are close to Munich, and those people from Nordic, they are close to, not far from Berlin, actually, Hamburg. So I would like to propose that if you, while you are considering, if you get these mobile stations, you can also, because we are leaders, most of us in this meeting today are from different organizations. Like I myself, I represent all the associations and individuals in France. And there are so many other associations leaders here. So we want to mobilize Kenyans to come to Berlin. And we would like to see if we mobilize our people to come close. If I can, because now you are going to be within Germany. I understand it very well. So if you can have, so that we can just cross a little bit and we are there because we are neighbors. And I know also we will have the issue, the biggest challenge will be COVID cases. So perhaps, because now different countries have their own rules. So if those COVID regulations will stop us, then we can have nothing else to do. But we would like to propose and see if you can organize that for us. Thank you.
Korea, you are right. The reason why we are looking for those cities, like you have said, closer to the neighboring countries, is so that the people in the neighboring countries can cross over, come and register, and then next year when they are going to vote, they can organize themselves, maybe in form of groups, or they can share transport and come to Berlin and vote. We will do that. That's why we are looking for some of those cities that are closer to the neighboring countries, where we can be able to attract the people. We are doing that. That is the essence.
And Korir, just to add to what Commissioner said, the other secret as a voter registration, I'm in charge of voter registration, and I'm sorry to put my boss in a fix, but I wanted to suggest that if you also registered in numbers, you register in numbers, in good numbers, that will have the commissioner have no other option but to separate you into different areas of voting. You know, it's also possible. So because again, commissioner has his hands tied. If, for example, you are less than 700, but from different parts of Europe, for example, he might not have a justification to separate and create more registration centers for you. But if there was a way in which, and this is because we are all Kenyans, I'm giving you a secret, that if there was a way in which we could have big numbers registering, particularly during this registration, then it will leave the commission with no option but to see how to accommodate you, particularly in view of of this pandemic, to accommodate you. Because if we have, say, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, they cannot be in one place. So commissioner will have to think, will have to go out, sit somewhere with his colleagues and probably see how to separate them, these groups, into different areas. But again, the challenge sometimes we face is that, yes, we are given such opportunities, but again, we end up For example, if you look at Arusha, we have 100 people only, yet they come from different parts of Tanzania. So it is not even, it's not cost effective for the commission to then think of even separating and creating more registration centers. So I think it is a role that we can all come together and try to see how we can mobilize towards squeezing out some of these facilitation that we require. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very good point, because that's why we have all these organizations here. They have numbers. So maybe that's a good point as a core team to come up with a list and put up names where we know if they can vote, because you can have numbers, but they cannot vote. We have to come back to IEBC with numbers, say these are the numbers we know they're gonna come from our organization to vote. And I know Coril, they're bringing a whole bus from France to they have already organized themselves to come. So he already maybe has the numbers. So if we put these numbers together, we can create a form where you can fill in and put the country, so we can be able to give numbers what we have gotten from you and your team. So that's something we can arrange as a core team. So that's, and then before, but as I told you, the time is very tight. So we are talking about now and now and I think you're meeting in the next few days, right, Commissioner Madenge? So the decision will come from that meeting soon. So if we could come up together, we put a list. That's not a big thing in Europe. It's easy to give you people a form, you fill it up, we give them the numbers. Already right now, we have already some of you, but your organization, so they need more to know the numbers of you who would be able to register. So I think, Corey, that was a very good point there. Go ahead.
I pick from, yes, from what you have said, I wish we could be getting, or you could be compiling the numbers, even as we move towards preparing to come, so that we could know that maybe in France, the people who are coming to register in this area, about so many people, actually would probably suggest that if we could get just a list of saying like, we are so many here, we are so many here, we are so many here, then it will give us quite a good indication in terms of what to do, even in terms of how many polling stations or registration centers we are likely to have. And Moses has said, it will give an indication as to how else, where else, and how can we be able to move this. That would be a very important exercise, maybe in the next few days. And that will also inform how we shall move.
Okay, Mr. Coril, well done. You have a job to do there. We'll put you on the spot. You have, actually, we have to congratulate you because you have a number of so many, because there are people outside Germany. So when you can imagine, can you unmute yourself and confirm we'll take this task role and try our best with all the other organizations, with your support, of course, everyone who is here. Do you want to lead this, Weldon?
Yes. I have no problem at all. Actually, the idea of numbers, Monsieur Commissioner, was we knew that this will come. So we had tried in Paris to recruit a lot of Kenyans to register under the embassy, so that we can show that we have a lot of Kenyans in Paris, so that you can swing from Berlin to Paris, but it didn't work.
Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
There's a difference between people registered in the embassy, and there's a difference between somebody registered as a voter. I'm talking about somebody registered as a voter. As we move towards registration of voters, which exercise we are going to start next month, I wish you could have an indication of the Kenyans who have valid passports and are willing to register as voters. That's what I mean.
Yes, I
You
think
know,
that was,
yeah. I want us to make a difference, between Kenyans who are registered living in Germany or France or whatever, and people who have valid document for registration as voters, because those are the ones that will inform the possible registration and the voting pattern.
yes, I think
Yes,
that was,
I understand. Yes, I understand. But I'm just curious, which statistics did you use to determine that Germany had more numbers than France, for
It's
example?
no, that's okay. That is
yeah,
that
Commissioner.
information. That is yes.
Yeah,
Siguri.
I think I just wanted to let him know that we have a population of Kenyans in diaspora statistics that was provided by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as at
Yes.
April this year, and that is the statistic we used to move to where we are right now. And we have that list of over, in fact, over 105 countries. Yeah, and they were indicating how many Kenyans are there, both students and residents. So that is the statistic we used. And when we look at Europe, we realized that Germany was way ahead of the rest of the countries. And number two, we also, for example, when we look at Germany, if I seek your indulgence, kidogo, when we look at Germany, for example, we had how many? We have over 15,000 Kenyans living in Germany. Of course, later on, when we came to the embassy, we got around 12,500. So 15,000 Kenyans are registered there. Then in France, we have, according to the statistics we got from the ministry, are about 2,500 Kenyans. So based on that, we were looking at those numbers, and that is what attracted us towards that direction that we took. And number two, besides the numbers, we were also looking at the legal regime within those countries. We were also looking at how conducive, how welcoming such countries are. We also looked at the historical, the history between Kenya and those countries, because there are countries, for example, like Saudi Arabia, that has so many Kenyans, but very unwelcoming in terms of even how we are going to operate there as a commission, because a country you go to and your passport is taken away for a while. In fact, you cannot operate. So those are some of the issues that went behind the proposal to move into some of these countries. However, it means that the next round again, once we get the data, we keep on updating our data in terms of where we want to go every other time. So that is what happened, and that is the kind of arrangement that took us to Germany. Thank you.
Let me add to what Moses has said. We are aware also that there are several Kenyans who are not registered with the embassy. Like in the US, we probably have maybe some few thousand, but we know that Kenyans in the US, they exceed maybe 100,000, 300,000.
Commissioner,
We can only go with the number of those who are registered by the embassy. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moses, go ahead.
Commissioner.
Yes.
Commissioner, there are 24,400 registered, yet there are 950,000 from the statistics. Yes, 950,000, but 24,000 are the only ones registered. I just wanted to confirm to support your sentiment. Thank you.
That's the point, yes.
Thank you for that. But the point here was you want us, the Europe, and I'm going back now to everybody in this meeting, because you are owner of our organization, and put Weldon on spot that he's going to help us to collect the people who can register, because we know in Germany, some of us who have German passport, we are not allowed to vote. Some people can vote who have the Kenyan passport, not ID. So are we in agreement that we put, you give us the names of people you know, that not names, but I think we need more numbers, right? That the number of people in your organization that you think will make it to register, so that we can have more registering polls in Germany for them and make it easier for them. So we need only those ones who can register. If you can be able to give us, so I want you to write in the chat, yes, so that we can take this forward with you later on in our small group on WhatsApp. Write it on the chat, yes, you're okay with that. And well done, please, you will note this on the minutes and let us know how we can take this one forward as a follow-up. If every one of you is happy with that, we need to hear with you, because this is about all of us together, inclusive. Whether you're happy to give us the number you think will come to vote and register, especially registration, so that we can have this in a few days. We need this information in a few days before the meeting with the team, so that Commissioner Madenga can go and fight for us to get stations like Frankfurt, Cologne, Stuttgart, Munich, Hamburg, and I'm sure people from France will be happy to hear Stuttgart, because it's also another shorten your distance to go to Frankfurt to do the registration. Or so please put yes there. I can see a few yes there, 2 yes out of 35. Is that a no? I would want to kindly put your comments on the, I'll count that later. Sorry, is somebody talking?
Yeah, it's Moses.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and this is the way we in registration again and voting electoral systems. The way we work again is that what we ask is for you to mobilize.
We can't hear well. We can't hear you well.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, what I'm saying is the numbers that will matter, and the commissioner is listening, is the numbers that would have been registered at the end of the registration process. That is when we will sit. I'm saying, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, now you are better.
Yes, so I'm saying that for commissioner, what he would like to hear, Joy, is that at the end of the registration process, people have surpassed the numbers that we expected to register, and therefore we require a new, will require some kind of facilitation in terms of registration and registration. But right now, the numbers that you will propose might not be of help, because those will just remain numbers until we have those people captured, registered, processed, so that then we have a true number of people who are going to get to vote in 2022. That is when the commissioner will be able to now fight for what you are looking for. But so I'm just trying to say that right now, giving numbers.
Simply what I was proposing, even as they prepare as they prepare for the exercise that is coming next month, if they have some indicative numbers, for example, let's say Stuttgart, we have about 100 people who have valid passports, who want to register, and they can be able to tell us we have about 100 people here, and probably they could even list them and say that in addition to those ones in Germany, that particular city, we have another 100 or 200 coming from France who can come and register there.
Okay.
That will give us a good indication, even when we are for our planning, that among the cities that we need to visit to register is that one. All right?
Yes.
Yeah, we could be having another, like Munich has maybe only about 20 Kenyans who are there. So between Munich and Stuttgart, which one would we like to visit? It is probably Stuttgart because they are dedicated. So for planning purposes, if they can be able to get those numbers as clearly as possible, right? Then
Okay.
in terms of our planning, we'll be able to say, well, this is this. If we go to this city, we'll be able to get more people.
Yes.
And we'll probably be get also a few other people coming from from France to
The
come and
neighboring
register.
countries.
Yeah. Yes. That's the indication.
Guided.
Looking for that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
as you
well
say, you are
guided.
right. The actual number that will determine how many people, how many polling stations we shall have, and where they shall be located is the number of the people who will be registered finally by the end of January.
Okay, so we are aligned with what I had
I'd
mentioned.
like to make a communication. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
just
I'd like
an
to
overview.
maybe not lose a communication. Yes.
It's
I wanted to make a
not-
communication also, Joy,
Yes.
that we also, let's also not lose the fact that apart from new registration that we are coming to do, we will also be offering Kenyans out there an opportunity to transfer their votes. So if there is a Kenyan out there who may be registered somewhere in Mombasa, or who is a registered voter in Nakuru, wherever in the country, or voted here in the past, and now thinks that 2022 will find him or her in Germany, they have an opportunity to also transfer their vote from their local stations in Kenya to now Berlin in Germany. So that needs to also be made clear that they are able to do the same.
That's very important.
And then if there is also, yes, and there are some of you who have taken new names and they are legal now, you have legal names and you need to change them from the former names that you had, then you also have an opportunity to also do what we call a change of particular. So there is a form you will fill, you give your old name and the new name that you now want captured in your details. So I just wanted so that we also don't lose those very, very important issues that are very.
So one person did ask that question in that regard. We'll go through it later on. But I just want to close that part that Weldon is going to follow up with you organizations to get that overview. We need it very quickly in terms of 3 to 4. Okay, count Christmas, New Year's off and tomorrow and the next day. But we will see how we can use WhatsApp as a way to reach out to you. And Weldon, if you can reach out to Weldon and tell him he will be happy to collect those numbers for Commissioner. And then we will be able to associate if they're coming from the north, meaning Norway, we know those ones will go to Hamburg. If they're coming from the south, we know those ones will come to either to Stuttgart or Frankfurt, whichever way they want to choose. But we also have those ones from Switzerland, they can go to Munich, things like that. But only you people gonna help. So you have given the opportunity, take that opportunity. So let's go to the questions before it's too late. Simon, I can see you're back. And then Simon, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yes, thank you, Joy. And thank you, commissioners, for this opportunity. We appreciate the opportunity to vote. My question is, just to go straight to it, is on regarding the people we vote in. The current information that I have is that we are only going to for the presidential candidates. And I wanted to understand, was that guided by cost factor, that you may say that if you have more maybe candidates to be voted in, and if it was just to know why we are only limited to vote presidents and not any MP or whatever. And on that issue again, which I think the question was also raised, is how these maybe results will be transmitted. Will it be transmitted as a complete, let's say, constituency, as a diaspora constituency, to count as its own entity, or polling stations? You have, I don't know, many of them. So maybe just to clarify on that. Another thing that just to finalize, I think we have an issue of also data sharing here in Germany. We have a law, Daten shoots, so we don't have to, we need not to forget that. So we have to be very careful as well here, not to hit maybe rub shoulders with the law. I think if you needed numbers in that case, maybe I would also suggest that we only talk as leaders of these groups to say, okay, more or less we have this group entailing these numbers of people, and that will be shaped towards that city. Instead of maybe going into those numbers, then we'll have also another hindrance for people sharing information. So anyway, I leave it to the coordinators to think of that, but that's my suggestion, that we see according to the people that we have, maybe which area or which city we could move those let's say registration areas. I think for that now, I leave for some comments from your side. Thank you.
Over to you, Moses.
Thank you. I was just trying to get the section of the law that talks about the limitation of diaspora vote to the presidential vote only. It is there. It is in the law. The law provides very clearly that. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
So the law, it is provided for in law, and I was just going to get the right place. That diaspora vote only counts for the president, and I think it has all to do with the fact that I think the drafters of the law thought that probably the president, the national vote is what matters for people out here. You don't have really concern with the MCAs and people like that. But I think I was not part of that, but the law is provided for in that, and I'm going to get maybe before the end of the conversation, I'll get to the right section of the law that talks about that. Then I think the other question that you asked was, well, I don't remember if I can be reminded. Korir, Kirui, what?
It was
about the issue of data. Yeah, about the issue of data and data sharing, which is also a very major concern, as you may recall. Recently, the country appointed a data commissioner. I think the issue of data is very, very sensitive now to any jurisdiction, any country, and therefore that is why we at the end in our later on when we share with you part of our documents on what we are coming to do out there, in our preamble, in our introduction, we always refer to the fact that we submit ourselves to the laws and the legal regimes of the countries that we find ourselves in. And that is why we are working very closely with the embassies, with our consulates, with our high commissions, to make sure that we do not in any way bring conflict with the host country legal regimes. So that one we take into consideration. And even as we do all that we are doing, guided again by you people who stay there and who understand what goes on there, we must stick to the to what the host country legal regime dictates. So we are very concerned about that, and data sharing and issues of data are very, very sensitive. And in fact, they are very punitive laws in terms of playing around with that. And as a commission, and the commissioner will attest to that, we are some of those people who are handling the data and collecting data from Kenyans, and we are bound by law to make sure that we are very, very confidential on that. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And about the data, especially in Europe, if it's offered by the people themselves, that is okay. Only that the third person is not allowed to pass on without the conscience of the other one. So I'm going to go to Rachel, and then we go to Makosa. And if Makosa, you come in, you've put a lot of questions in the chat. I want you to ask all of them so that you don't have to go to the chat and repeat them. Once is your turn. But Rachel, go ahead now.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, we've been discussing now for long about this. I don't know if people can register for what. John,
we can't hear you well. We can't hear you well.
Oh, maybe it's my internet. Can you hear me now?
Try again.
Is it clear?
Before you are much better. There's a lot of noise.
I was sorry. I shifted places, and so I said I'm in Kenya, so it could be the internet connection here. But let me just go back to where I was. So maybe I'm nearer to the.
That's much better. That's better.
Okay. So I was saying, because we've just discussed things that are very valid, I was concerned about the data protection, but at the same time, it's been answered. Although I'm finding, this conversation, we have to go somewhere. And the issue about collecting names or whatever, or the numbers beforehand, I think it's not so easy, bearing in mind that it's about 15 days to the beginning of the registration. Why don't the organizations available focus their efforts on mobilizing the numbers to come for the registration? And now I'm asking Commissioner Madenge, if, for example, you find through the people who have registered that there are actually quite 1,000 people and more, maybe 2,000 already in France, then you have chosen maybe, of course, Berlin. Is it possible that it will be negotiated that will also be a polling station, because it will be based and informed on actual registered voters? Will the IEBC be able to do that, or is it cast in stone that it must be only in Berlin? That's one of the questions that I have. I don't know if you want to answer me that. And then
you have another one you asked the same time?
I asked the same time. Okay. Sorry, I'm somewhere where I'm sweating. So sorry, I have a cold.
Sorry.
I'll ask later.
Okay, you'll ask later. Sorry about that. Okay. Now let's take, do you want to go on with that one? Or we go, yeah, go ahead. You're muted. Commissioner Madenga, if you're talking, you're muted.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. And probably that would be something to be considered. Like Mr. Sinkula has said, we have so many registered voters and one polling station, would have no choice but to create another polling station.
Based on the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Which we need to have an idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying if all these people who are here who represent groups of Kenyans, if they came out in numbers and registered between the days when IEBC is registering, then that would be a good cause to also apply for polling stations in their countries.
Yeah, for example, now, we are registering in Berlin. That is the registered polling station that is now. If we have another, maybe probably 700 or 800 people who have come from France and they are registered in Berlin, would have no choice but to register to open another polling station in Paris.
Paris. But right now, what you're also going to help us get is that they can actually register in other of these major towns apart from Berlin.
Yeah. Apart from Berlin, we have said particularly the neighboring cities near the neighboring countries.
Yes.
We can be able to register that, and when you compile our report, we shall be able to see that these people are registered in Berlin. Their origin is Paris, and they constitute a huge number. Would have no choice but to create another polling station.
Oh, very good. Now, when you're deciding which towns to take, I would pray that you don't consider only the number of voters. The number of Kenyans who are registered voters there. I'm talking now about this exercise in January, simply because there are some places which may have high voters and our town may be left out, which does not have maybe so many compared to another one, but it is very easily accessible. Because the goodness of Germany is their transport systems and communication. So, if you live out something like Frankfurt, it will be a catastrophe because that's where most of the planes to different destinations land. If you leave Cologne, you will have left out a big percentage which comes by train, and Hamburg, you will have left the Scandinavians. So if we can consider all those things so that we really make informed decisions. And for later, I want to ask, because it's not the end, thank you so much for hearing our side that you want to vote. So for the future, is it possible that we continue after these elections, that we can be guided on how some of these things which you're basing are saying there, the legislators who have put them there, which clearly is informed maybe by people who are not understanding of the diaspora challenges, like the timing. So will it be possible that that is done and not the last minute now in 2027? Thank you so much.
Okay, let me answer you one. You have raised some very fundamental issues. We are not picking any particular city or town or state ourselves. And we have told you earlier on that we'd like you to guide us in terms of which areas, because you are the ones who live that place. You are the ones who know about the logistics of movement in those areas. You are the ones who can be able to tell us this town is better than this one and can attract more Kenyans to come and register here. So that is part of our consultation with you. You are the stakeholders who would follow your advice. What we got from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our embassy in Bahrain is the registered Kenyans within some states. And it was also mentioned to us that there could be many Kenyans in one state, but they are not within a range whereby they can be able to register, can be able to come and register or even vote. So we'll leave this to you as part of your exercise in the next few days to advise us, so that by the time we are planning our trip, we will be able to know which areas you have identified as key in terms of facilitation of Kenyans to come out and register as voters. And of course, we will need to talk to our embassy as well and tell them this is the areas that we think we have been informed by the diaspora people. It's easier to register from here, so that any requirements or authorities that are required from the government in that particular place can be negotiated by our embassy.
Thank you so much. We are really wanted to keep this meeting to 2 hours, and we're just 20 minutes. So what I'll do, the people I'll mention, they will be the people asking questions, and then we'll only go to the, we also go to all the questions that have been asked until 10:21, and then we can close this. And the IEBC, they're not going anywhere. They'll be coming back to give us information. And as you can hear, they're willing to work with us. So we have all these concerns. We raised them also in the beginning, and we're going to be putting them as well across to their tables as the core team that you're bringing up together as we are all discussing these. These are all these issues we all put up there. So I'll go ahead and allow Makosia and Jamara as the last people to ask questions. And then we'll go, okay, I see another hand up. That's the last one, and Dorothy, the last one. And then we'll go to, until next time, we'll ask more questions and put them in the chat if they're complex. Now that you know what you know, you can also answer each other questions. But please don't use ports that you don't know about. If you don't know, just don't say you don't know, and we'll pick up those questions and follow them up with the IEBC as well. So go ahead, Mr. Makosir.
I will be very short. Frederick Makosir, Association of Kenyans in Norway. I'm also representing the Nordic Leaders, the Nordic Kenya Leaders Forum here. We have only one embassy in the Nordic region, and that is 5 countries. Iceland is not bordering Germany in any way, it's very far out. That is one of the countries. We have Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. I thank you very much, Commissioner Madenge, for saying that we should advise you on the way forward. And I would advise you on behalf of my region, the 5 countries, with only one embassy based in Stockholm, that you go in your, I don't know how to put it, but go deep in your pockets and find us a reason to have a polling station at least in Stockholm, to cover the 5 countries in this region with a huge, I think we are more than people in Germany, and we are more than people in France, and we are so dedicated, we are so welcoming, we are so warm, we are so everything that you mentioned that made you choose Germany. So please, on behalf of the Nordic region, I would request that, one, you find it in your legalities to create a registration center in the region, at least at the embassy in Stockholm, and also to declare a polling station in Stockholm, at least as a minimum. That's just my request. The other questions I'll put there, so I will not spend more time. They're in the chat. Thank you very much. And thank you for giving us this time. It's amazing. And I know we will have numbers, but my vote counts, just like the 15,000 in Germany. Thank you.
Well done. Back to you, IEBC. If you
maybe before Commissioner responds to my question, in terms of, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we can hear you.
we are struggling.
I just wanted to mention to my colleagues earlier, like I had promised to get a section of the law that talks about voting, why diaspora votes for election, for the presidential election, and that is section 39 of the Elections Act, which says that a Kenyan citizen residing outside Kenya shall only participate in a presidential election or a referendum. So that is clear. So read that section of the law, 39 of the Elections Act regulation. It will give you clearly what happens. Then I would like to also welcome you to visit our website, and you will find quite a lot of literature and a lot of information that can help to specifically answer some of the questions that you have. We have a very robust website, and it provides all sample, most of this information that that will be of help, and will even educate you more about our country and what we do, and probably even a chance to improve on what the commissioner was saying, where you indulge us and make us improve in what we do. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Madhe, if you're talking, you're muted. I know
Okay,
it's very late on your side, very, very late. So
no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We are fine. We are fine. I have heard about the 5 countries. I do not have a comment for now, but I will submit the feelings to the commission, and we will be able to respond after that.
okay,
Thank you, sir.
great. Dorothy, go ahead, ask your question.
Hello, everybody. Actually, I had already asked a question which was answered earlier on.
Okay.
About if I were to register in Germany, for instance, and I happen to be in Kenya in August, what will happen? That was answered. There's a way of transferring my voting, my polling station. The quid is now, this could be the two-way. Those who already registered back in Kenya and already out here and vice versa. What is the deadline for one to make a point of transferring her polling station from one point to the other one? From a practical point of view, they could give us an example of, we are going to register in January. By what date should I make my transfer for it to be valid in Kenya? And this is very important because most of us as diasporans might be in Kenya for summer. And we might register people here and then they go for summer and they cannot vote. It would be avoiding to lose some votes in the process of people going for summer and they cannot vote on the other side. Back to you. Thank you.
Sunkuli, that is yours.
Section 13C of the election regulation, again, is very clear on transfers. Just trying to, these things are matters of law. So we can only deal with them as such. Now, now I want to read it. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Now,
Yes.
I want to read. So that question is answered by Section 13C of the election regulation, which says, a voter is not qualified to transfer his or her registration unless at the date of his or her application to be transferred, he or she has ordinarily has been a resident in that constituency or place constituency 6 months immediately preceding the date of his or her application for transfer. In other words, what it means is that you need to do this transfer 6 months to 6 months to the date you want to do this transfer. So if you come very close to the election, then and you are applying very close to the elections, it might not be very, very convenient for you. So you need to do this thing a little early. You need to make a decision as to when you want to do these transfers, because we close the transfers and process the register. For example, we want to process the register of voters by June 22nd.
No.
By 22nd, by certify the register of we are certifying the register by June of next year. So by the time we certify this register, so we should have had you inside you should have transferred, you should have cleared everything, so that then we close the register. So 3 months to elections, you might not be able to do that. So you need to, again, it is a process that you need to start early. It's a process that you need to engage the commission much earlier, so that you have your data moved and processed and validated inside the system, so that by the time we close the register in June and provide to political parties for purposes of the election, you're already in the system. So you need to do it a little early. Yes.
Are you saying that the latest date by which one should transfer?
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the question.
Are we saying that the latest date is June, or is it February 9th? Because
no. June is completely out of. What I'm saying is that first
6 months before the election.
Yes.
6 months before the election. That means latest date would be 9th of February.
Of February.
Yes.
Yes, 9th of February. Because what I'm saying is by then by 9th of February, she will be in the system. We start processing her. We will send back feedback. She will check whether her details are okay, so that by June, then the register is out for purposes of the election.
So okay. I think you are clear now. The latest date you can register, you can transfer is by 9th of February. 2022. Because
Okay.
from there, the register is closed, then it is audited, right? Before it is released for inspection by the and verification in June, at least 3 months to the election.
Are we able to get the details to whom this should be addressed to be sure that it's not lost in the process?
No,
if someone happens to do this.
If you want to register, for example, if you are already registered in Kenya and you want to transfer your details to Berlin, Germany, you need to present yourself to us during the registration with your details and say, I'm moving my polling station from Nairobi Primary School to Berlin. That's all you need to do. And your details, there's a form to fill, you transfer you give our details, they will be transferred. You don't need to do anything else.
By the way, to transfer is a very easy process.
Yes.
It's a question of you appearing, because once we have your biometrics, to do transfers is a 5-minute kind of process. You simply walk in and you appear in person. You ask where you want to transfer to. They check whether you are there actually in the system, and then they move you to the new place, and you are done. So it is it's usually a very easy process to do, because we already have your details at hand. But like the commissioner said, actually transfers and all activities that relate to elections have a period at which they stop. And most likely by around February, we stop most of these activities. We start now processing activities that relate to the elections, which is the register.
Okay. So I think that was quite clear. I hope we've answered the questions, and we can follow up that on as we move on. So I'll just go now straight to the question on the chat, and then we, as agreed. So some of the question, I think, well done, you did ask your question, and I think it was answered. And I'm now on Shebet, a good start. We appreciate that diaspora is included. I hope the issue of distance will be concarded in future. So as mentioned, Dorothy, I think this was the question you just asked right now. So that also is answered. The law, this is from Acosta, I don't know whether it was asked, the law allows any Kenyan citizenship citizen who has attained the age of 18 as evidenced by a Kenyan national ID or a passport to vote. Does Article 5, I don't know what that, the clause 3, sorry, I'm not in law. I know, Marcosa, you're in law. Does Article 5, clause 3 not allow diaspora Kenyans to register and vote using their valid national ID? And then I'll ask other questions so that you keep that one, and you can answer a few together. Does that mean in UK, okay, UK, we have UK questions here. I don't think whether you want to answer these ones for UK, which the obvious question, does that mean UK will be 2 hours before Kenya? Will the embassy be open at 4 p.m.? It's a very, so that question, I think we have IEBC. If you want to answer that, you can answer, but I leave it to you. Because we also have a group that is working on that from UK, from IEBC. We have a different team. So Makosa also asked, will the IEBC gazette the whole of Europe? I think this was asked before and we answered. Will the IEBC gazette the whole of Europe as a constitution or a country and have a single returning officer who will publish the presidential results online in IEBC portal? I leave it to you to answer that. Let me know when to stop if it's too much. In countries where registration or voting will take place outside their host country of office hour, I see major challenges because the authorities will probably have to be notified. And then there was, okay, someone here is already giving us numbers from Chebet Quiz. I think it's a group in Sweden or Norway, the Scandinavia countries. We have 162 members with valid passport and willing to register as per yesterday. So thank you for putting that up, but Coril will pick up that and put it together. And then the others were yes. Thanks for the clarification.
Maybe we could have.
Okay, go ahead with that first. I think that was, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I want to, okay, let me first talk about the reason why we diaspora, apart from the East African countries where the law was crafted in such a way that it allows the use of an ID. Now, for any other person living outside Kenya and outside East Africa, the law is very clear and it has pronounced itself that we are using valid Kenyan passport. Like I said, first you need to be 18 years and above. You must have a Kenyan passport and the passport must be valid. And then, of course, you must present yourself in person and you must fill that form in person. And you must also allow your biometrics to be picked. Now, the use of passport is very deliberate in the sense that we know there are Kenyans out there with IDs and probably they have lost their nationality, but they still hold the ID. But you cannot lose your nationality and still hold a valid Kenyan passport. So, and again, by the way, it is. I think the law was also done in such a way that if you are dual, I think you can still participate in our elections, except of course run for president. But so therefore, for people out there, I think for purposes of making sure that we have Kenyans only participating in this, and that is why it was decided that it's only a valid passport that suffices in this point. IDs not are only allowed for Kenyans living within the country. So that is, maybe the commissioner will add on something on that, but also want to come back to the same issue, that to the same person. I think he also talked about Article 5. And I'm also lost because Article 5 again talks about the territory of Kenya. So I think again, like you said, Joy, probably we need to look at the Constitution clearly, so that when we quote some of these things, because we tend to refer to them as per what the caller said, but I think Article 5 talks about the territory of Kenya, and I'm not able to find anything relating to IDs and passports. Thank you.
Commissioner Madenga, you have anything to add of that? And Lucas, stay on hold. You're gonna
nothing to add. I think he has covered everything.
Okay, fantastic. It's getting very late. Lucas from UK, you have something burning, and that will be the last one for today. It's exactly 2 hours past, and we need to keep time. Go ahead, Lucas Kamau.
Thank you very much, Joy, and thank you, commissioners, for coming on board. Mine is, we are here together with the UK team from KCCC UK, and they are listening and taking notes. So when you come to UK, we shall communicate. My question is this. When Chairman Chebukati was in UK, he said clearly that one cannot transfer. If you have registered in London, you can then not transfer to vote in Kenya, because Kenya, they are voting with an ID, and people in abroad, we are using passports. So I've heard in this meeting that then now you can transfer. Can you make this clear, please, so that we understand where we stand? Because then if you register in Kenya in Makadara with an ID and you transfer that vote to vote in London or Berlin in Germany, then you cannot use the ID in Germany. Please clarify that point because it was asked several times and it was made clear that we cannot transfer our goods.
Okay, can you get it clear? You are saying if you are registered in Makandara, you cannot transfer transfer to vote in UK.
Yes, you have said that you can transfer our goods. If I register in the UK, I can then apply to transfer my goods to vote in Kenya. It was clearly said in our meeting that that cannot happen. If you register in the UK with the passport, then you have to vote in UK. So I've heard in this meeting then now that you can transfer that vote to vote in Makadara. You registered in UK. So please clarify that because there is confusion there.
Sunkuli?
I think we'll have to do. We have to sit and
but I think
look
the point
at
here is that you need to. There'll be two issues here.
Yes.
You registered with your ID.
Yeah.
And now you can only use your passport.
Yes.
What does the law say there? Because I would imagine
because I think even locally,
for decision. Yes.
Yes, it's allowed because you see the principle. The main thing is your fingerprints. Once we have your fingerprints, changing the document is the document you. That is why we have an opportunity of change of particulars.
Yes.
And when you're changing your particulars, it means now you're saying, I want to use a passport and I don't need the ID anymore. And what our clerks will simply do is, as long as you are within the window of those changes, then they will take your passport and remove the ID and insert the passport. So that, because the law requires that whatever you use or whatever document you use for registration is what you will appear with during voting. So even locally, even in Kenya, there are so many people who use passport. Now these people have passports in Kenya and they use them for registration. So as I say, probably it is possible to do that. But then again, as a matter of policy, and it is something probably we will have to sit before Commissioner, you are there, then we'll do a joint communique. That relating to that, because I might not be able to conclusively give an answer on that one for now. But it's something we can do very quickly.
But I think it's something that we can be able to clarify very quickly, because when you're in Kenya, you can either register using your passport or using your ID.
Yes.
Therefore, when you are abroad, for example, now if you have moved from Kenya to abroad and you have a valid passport, you cannot be defranchised because you are using your passport. So
the only thing you lose. The only thing you lose is you lose the other votes. There are 5 votes, but you remain with 1 vote. So you cannot be stopped from voting, right? So you only lose the other votes, but you can vote for the president. So,
but I think, you can vote for the president. But I think what we need to clarify here, following Chairman's comment, is that whether, because you have moved from Makandala to London, you can replace your ID with your passport, or you can register. You are going to register afresh. But because your biometrics are in the system, what I see is what Sunkuli is saying, that you need to change the document for which you registered with from your ID to your passport, or register afresh as with the same biometric, and then you'll be deleted from the register at Makadara. But for sure, you will be facilitated to vote. I think that's the cardinal point.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that
and finally, Joy.
Yeah.
Finally from me is that usually we have given a code to Diaspora, just like we have codes for example, we have 47 counties. So Diaspora would be 48, prison is 49. So that so it comes as a vote, a block vote.
As a county.
Yes, from it as a county.
Yes.
Yeah, it has a county, you know, it has a code in the system. So it comes as one single county.
And with all the polling stations as part
yes.
polling, yes.
Yes. Yeah, just like you will have Nairobi County with different polling stations within Nairobi. So Diaspora will also be county number 48 with different polling stations reporting.
Okay, great, thank you. I have one more question just to clarify for I can see a lot of communication from the UK, but there's a team, commissioner going to UK, and the commissioner says that different teams coming to Europe. I just want you to clarify, Commissioner, for us, because it's so important where your registration is done, that's where you're going to vote. So because the registration is in Germany, so it doesn't matter just because we have this discussion, everybody's talking about, you're saying EU, Europe, you're talking about the Europe region, the 47 of us in Europe right now, and not EU. So I want you to be very clear on this, because we're having so many questions. Some people, especially the people from the Scandinavia who are not in EU, but they are also part of Europe region. This is our area we are talking of, because the registration is done in Germany. And in another, and as the same thing you're saying, if you go register in Kenya, you have to go register in Kenya. So that means even if they go register in UK, they have to go vote in UK. Is that correct?
Let me put it this way. As of now, we are talking about Berlin, Germany. Okay? Anybody who is going to register in European Union or in Europe, as of today, they will have to vote in Berlin, in Germany. Okay?
Or
those who will register
UK.
in UK, those who register in UK, and that is why there's team that went to UK will vote in UK. And our London Embassy, High Commission, will be the polling stations, just like Berlin will be the polling station. Those who will be in Canada, the same. Those who will be in the US, they will register in 3 different places: Washington, New York, and Los Angeles. And somebody must vote where they registered. Okay?
Yeah, so does that mean that if somebody in France cannot decide to go register in UK?
No. If somebody is in France, he can go to register in UK, but he'll go to vote in UK.
Got it. That's what I meant.
Yes.
So where you register. So the biggest
if he goes
thing
to register in UK, he'll have to vote he'll go to vote in UK.
So the biggest thing is this passport, Kenyan passport. So if you have it, you can go register wherever you want to register, and where is already gazetted, and you go vote there. Yes. Correct? Okay, correct. Thank you for that. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I see some people, okay, Moses was coming back again. And we really, really appreciate your time. We have already gone 12 minutes past. We try to keep time. We needed to give you as much time as possible to answer your question. I can see William, you're still putting up hand. If it's really, really urgent, let us know. And it's not a reputation, but I give you 2 seconds to ask your question.
Thanks, Joy. My question is this, because that's where it's contradicting. The chairman said when the polling station exceeds 700 people, they have to allocate another polling station. Yes. So does it mean then that if we register 3,000 people in London or in Bahrain, then they have to send all the others to different polling stations? Thank you.
Yeah. No. Okay, what does it mean? It means that If you register 3,000 people in Ladan, for example, divide 3,000 by 700. Okay, you have that. That comes to about
4.2. 4.2.
You have you'll have like 5 polling stations, for example, and all those polling stations will be at the Kenyan embassy most likely. What does it mean? In the past, we used to call them streams, okay, where you could go into a primary school and you find several classes, but that is called one polling station, but with streams. All those streams now are polling stations. In other words, you have to have 5 different points for polling.
Thank you.
None of them will exceed 700 people.
Thank you for that. UK, I think you have also issues because of the location of your embassy. There was issues there. Even Germany, I think they have managed to acquire bigger areas for that. And I want to thank you all. If you allow me to allow, do we still have Ben here? Ben in Berlin, who is going to also, before we ask Commissioner to close, Ben, because you're the Berlin, the person responsible with our commissioner, it's good to hear from you as well. Just unmute yourself and say a word here. And Corey was also here. Bashir also was also here. I don't think Bashir managed to join. But Ben, could you unmute yourself and give appreciation to all the people who are coming here and the work you're all doing to put these people together with
hello, thank you very much, Joy. I hope everyone can hear me. I was just using headphones.
You can put your camera on so that I can find you.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you can hear me now. Yeah,
so thank you. Have your camera on, please.
Okay. Let me see if I can turn it on. So there I am.
Finally.
Yeah, you can see me there with my Kenyan flag. Proud to be Kenyan. And yeah, I really want to appreciate all of you. Thank you very much, Commissioner Madenge. Thank you very much, Sonkuli, for finding time to answer all our questions. And I know it's very late in Kenya now. It's around, I know it's past midnight. It's almost 1 or past 1. And so it means that you're very much dedicated to your work, which we really appreciate. Secondly, I also want to appreciate all leaders who are in this group today. You're doing all an amazing job. The feedback is really amazing. We are really proud of what you're doing. And this means that you're really dedicated to your country. You love Kenya as a country and you love Kenya as a people. So we really appreciate that. And on behalf of the core team, on behalf of the team that is also leading this, Joy and myself and the others who are here, we really want to appreciate, and we will be ready for any feedback. We are ready to work together. I mean, we have a very short time. We're talking about 15 days to start the registration process. So all your feedback is very much appreciated. All the leaders, especially now, though, because now, for now, what is sure that we have heard from the Commission is that now we first of all focus on Germany. So we want, first of all, to really work very, very closely with the leaders that are in Germany and those neighboring countries. So your feedback, your questions, how we can support each other, let us know. Let us feel free to talk. I mean, our numbers are also there. We can also talk one-on-one, so that we can also, your feedback, we can also give it directly also to the Commission. So let us engage each other from now onwards. We have, those few days that are remaining. Let's try to put our heads together and come up with something conclusive, because this is a success. We must make this thing a success so that at least 2027 also we get these opportunities. I'm sure it will not end in 2022. So let us put all our efforts together. So I really appreciate, thank you so much for your time. And I remember that for now, as we know that Berlin will be the main polling station, so we are ready, we are waiting for you guys. We are putting everything in order. We are planning also events. We are working with closely together with event managers and people who can also be able to help us organize a wonderful event also for that day, and even that during that period of voting period. So even after the registration, we will still continue engaging each other. We also have another period after registration. From February also to June, we'll have another time of serious engagements, and also to make the voting process a success. So thank you very much. And also these numbers, the numbers that will come from the registration, not only the IEBC is waiting for them. I've been having questions from people asking me what the political things are doing, but I don't know what the political parties are doing, but I'm sure also even the political parties are also very much eager to see the numbers that will come from the diaspora. So then after that, they will pop in and start campaigning. So I mean, everyone is looking forward to the numbers that we will deliver as diasporans. So make sure that at least we put all our effort together to make sure that we have at least a good number of registered voters. So thank you very much. All your efforts appreciated. I wish everyone a good night. And as we usher in the new year tomorrow, I mean, in a few hours today in Kenya is already Friday. Germany, we are 45 minutes to Friday. So I wish you all a happy new year, and let's continue engaging. So thank you very much. Santeni.
Thank you so much. Korea, well done. Korea, well done.
I think much has been said. I just want to say Happy New Year, everyone, and see you in 2022. We are going to make it happen, especially those numbers. Thank you.
Okay. Stefan from Italy.
Yeah, it has been an amazing meeting. Thanks to the IEBC team and to all the Kenyan leaders. The enthusiasm being experienced is really fantastic. And I think something very good will come out of this. So let's just be prepared to facilitate the whole thing so that we can give our people the opportunity to finally, for the first time, play a leading role in choosing who will lead our country. So thank you very much, and let's continue engaging to find the best way of coordinating everything. Asante sana.
Thank you. Lucky Mweni. Bankat, for Bankat. Are you able to talk? I hope you have not slept. She's in Kenya. Are you there? If you're talking, you're muted. Okay. I don't think she's there. She must have. So thank you so much. And we also, these people have highlighted here, these are the core team. We have two people I think we're missing here. We have Kamau from, I don't know whether he's there with another number. I couldn't find him. Frankfurter Main. Kamau is missing here, and also Bashir from Switzerland, who have been following these up together. We have been putting this together and trying to bring this information to you, and thank you so much. For me, on my side, before I pass to Commissioner to close the meeting, is to tell you that this is a very sensitive thing. Whatever happens or whatever we do, this thing will affect our people back home. So please make sure we have less and less, how do I say, less distraction or and follow the rules that are there. And please, let's quote what, because this can put the country in a big mess if we do this wrong, and we'll be kicked out from voting anyway. So guys, it's a very sensitive position. We want to maintain this. We want next time they go to each and every Europe country or the country that you want to, but we have this opportunity for the first time, and we have been given Germany as a lastminute.com. So let's embrace it and run with it. And it's up to you. As I said, IEBC can do what they are mandated to do. But you as mobilizer, you are the people who are going to make sure that this is accessed. It's all about you Kenyans with the passport, the stakeholders. The whole action will be over. And let's also forget there's somebody else we need to put in there. That's our God, to stop the COVID, because the COVID can be also a very destructive thing during all this session. Please keep safe, keep all your rules, and we will continue chatting on the WhatsApp group, and we will have a catch up with the core team again to follow up the next steps from here. Weldon is writing the minutes, and he's gonna share with us as well, and hand over to you, Commissioner, to close the meeting.
Thank you everybody for this evening. I think it was wonderful. A meeting with a lot of questions, but I hope we are able to answer them. We look forward to a serious engagement in voter registration. And as I promised, as soon as we finish our meeting next week, I am going to request that we have another meeting, all of us again, so that we can update you and tell you these are the issues that were discussed. We will present what you have raised, the issues you have raised here, to the plenary so that the plenary can be able to deliberate on them and advise on the way forward. And as of now, I think we are doing very well. Looks like the German team is leading in terms of activity, consultation, and we'll certainly be leading the other polling stations in terms of the number. I believe that we'll be able to mobilize a lot of people from Germany and the neighboring countries to vote. And the Kenyans living in diaspora has been pushing for this. And I'm happy to note that you have taken the challenge with both hands and you are ready to run with it. We will be communicating some more details and some more information after the meeting on next week, including some of the materials that we require to be circulating and giving to our Kenyans when we're talking to them. So this channel is open for short consultation. You can even call on WhatsApp. We can call you when we need something. And for now, thank you and God bless you. Have a happy new year. And we are just a few hours away. Santine.
Yes, happy new year to you and everybody else. Relax and celebrate. Let's come back next year refreshed, and we'll get in touch with you shortly. Thank you so much and good night, everyone.
Santi.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Bye-bye.
Nata.
Thank you.
Night.